Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm going to talk to you about part 3 of the Doctor Who 60th anniversary special that was called The Giggle. And as the episode opened, it sets a scene in Soho in 1925 as a gentleman walks into a toy shop run by the toymaker, who is apparently feigning a German accent. And the gentleman buys a ventriloquist dummy for his employer, a renowned inventor who's working on creating television, and apparently did, creating a moving image of the puppet's head. In the present, things continue to go insane in London, as we saw at the end of the second part of the special, as the Doctor observes. As he confronts a man who had run into the street and almost got hit by a car, the toymaker dances about in a top hat and cane in the background before approaching the Doctor and dancing with him briefly before a unit shows up to escort the Doctor to headquarters, along with the TARDIS, just before he shares a brief wave with the toymaker from across the street. Apparently, everybody except the people in unit have become possessed by the idea that they're right, no matter what they think, and everyone is just fighting with everyone else, as well as doing things like landing planes wherever they like. Once at unit, the Doctor runs into Melanie, one of his long-ago companions, before learning about exactly what's going on, and about the fact that people in unit are using a device that keeps them from being affected. In fact, the director gives a very impactful demonstration of how the device works. Because Donna, Melanie, and Donna's granddad aren't affected alongside the Doctor theorizes that maybe long-term travel in the TARDIS puts people out of sync with whatever's happening to everyone else. The Doctor, Donna, Melanie, and the folks at unit realize that what's been happening is that the very first ever television image of the puppet was burned into the very existence of television itself, and has been subliminally affecting people since 1925 with the puppet's giggle, reaching a peak now that every screen everywhere in the world is online thanks to a new South Korean satellite that the Doctor, in his capacity as a leader of unit, gives permission for the London branch to take out with some kind of beam, after acknowledging that he's having a feeling that something from his past has returned. The Doctor and Donna then go back to 1925 Soho, where Donna tries to have a conversation with the Doctor about how he just keeps going all the time and is sort of running himself ragged. Then the two of them confront the toymaker in the shop, at which point the Doctor tells Donna to go back to the TARDIS for her protection before the toymaker takes off and leads the Doctor and Donna into an infinite hallway into which he disappeared, and from which they cannot exit by turning back. No matter which door they go through, they end up in pretty much the same hallway, which is apparently in the toymaker's domain, which is governed by the rules of play. As they're walking around, going through door after door and getting nowhere, the Doctor explains to Donna that the toymaker is someone he met when he once got sloppy and let the TARDIS fall out of reality into a dimension beneath the under-universe, from which he only escaped by beating the toymaker at his game, only to now have the toymaker make his way into our reality, seemingly because the Doctor played a game by telling a fib about the salt in the last special when he was at the edge of the universe with Donna. He then says how he's upset with himself about it, saying to Donna that he's really nothing without his TARDIS and his gadgets, and that he doesn't know if he can save her life this time, to which she responds by saying, well, maybe she'll save him. Of course, it isn't long before they get separated when they both try different doors and they can't go back through the ones that they went through. Then the Doctor finds the man who bought the doll trussed up against the wall in a room off the hallway, and it turns out he's been turned into a marionette whose strings go up into the sky where the toymaker manipulates them. Apparently, he lost a game with the toymaker when he went to him to try to get the giggle out of his head. Donna, meanwhile, finds her way into a room where she hears someone crying, and it turns out that the someone is the original marionette's companion marionette, his wife, who's quite upset that her husband was taken away from her. As Donna's standing there talking to the doll, who's reciting a creepy poem about her experience losing her husband, her baby marionettes descend from the ceiling and attack Donna, at which point the mommy marionette starts climbing up Donna's leg, but she grabs her and whacks her about until her head falls off, which scares the babies off. She then exits the room and is reunited with the Doctor, at which point the place they were standing in becomes a sort of theater in which the toymaker recounts with other marionettes what happened to Amy, Clara, and Bill when they were with the Doctor, as well as what happened during the Flux. The Doctor then challenges the toymaker to a game. As the toymaker is shuffling a deck of cards, he recounts to the Doctor how he's been manipulating things in this universe, and how he even defeated the Master in a game, imprisoning him inside a gold tooth, which he flashes to the Doctor. But he also explains how the only person he doesn't mess with is someone he called He Who Waits. Apparently, the reason everyone is cuckoo in the future is because the Toymaker made it so that everyone is right, because that's the game of the 21st century, being right or trying to be right to win. But of course, that also means everyone is wrong and everyone loses. He and the Doctor decide on a game of highest card wins, and the Doctor draws an 8 of clubs, after which the Toymaker draws a king. The Doctor then says that they have a tie because they've each won a game, and they have to play one more game to see who will win best out of 3, back in 2023, where they are all sent. Meanwhile, UNIT is working on taking out the South Korean satellite with the beam, which they're then apparently able to do, but since it was only one link in a chain, they have to reorganize every satellite in existence in a bid to find the entrance the Toymaker used so that they can turn it into an exit. But before they can complete that attempt, the Toymaker shows up, dancing and lip-syncing to a Spice Girls song. When they try to arrest him, he turns UNIT soldiers into piles of balls, and he makes all their guns shoot confetti. He then exits the UNIT headquarters as quickly as he entered through a trap door, only to take over the laser beam outside after having sent the people operating the beam over the edge of the building. The Doctor tries to get the Toymaker to abandon the Earth and to go with him back to the cosmos, where they can infinitely play games among the stars, but he says that he's enamored with Earth and all of its various types of games that humans play. Mind games, board games, what have you. When the Doctor tells him to stop messing with the humans because his fight is with him, the Toymaker shoots the beam through the Doctor, saying that since he played his first game with a different Doctor and the second game with this Doctor, he'll play the third game with the next Doctor, at which point, because he was essentially killed by the beam, the Doctor starts to regenerate, with Donna and Melanie holding his hands. But the regeneration doesn't happen the way it normally does, and Donna and Melanie have to pull both of his arms, and when they do, the 15th Doctor comes out of the 14th Doctor with the 14th Doctor still intact. Only he's wearing the Doctor's overshirt, tie, and shoes, but nothing else, leaving the 14th Doctor wearing only his undershirt under his vest and his pants, but no shoes. Apparently, this happened because of something called bi-generation, which is supposed to be a myth and has never happened before. The two Doctors then challenge the Toymaker to a game, and they begin to play catch, with the rule being that whoever drops the ball loses. After a few crazy rounds of ball throwing, the Toymaker drops the ball and loses. At this point, the 14th Doctor banishes the Toymaker out of existence forever, after which he says his legions are coming before he disappears into a box trap, leaving behind his gold tooth containing the Master, which is picked up by an unknown hand. The 15th Doctor and Donna then explain to the 14th Doctor how he needs to stop and take a rest and just live. Donna even explains to him that the reason he changed his face back and found her is so that he could come home. The 14th Doctor then says he'd like to, but he could never leave the TARDIS, at which point the 15th Doctor has an idea and retrieves what looks like the Toymaker's hammer from a panel in the floor, which he then uses to whack the TARDIS and duplicate it, except for some additions, like a wheelchair ramp and a jukebox. The 14th Doctor briefly inspects this duplicate TARDIS, but then lets the 15th Doctor take that one with the wheelchair ramp and the jukebox while he goes back to the other one. Sometime later, the 14th Doctor's having lunch with Donna and her family and Melanie, and when asked if he misses being out there, he says, "You know, I finally realized what I fought all those battles for. This. And I've never been happier in my life." The episode ends with the 15th Doctor getting underway in the TARDIS, and closing screens say Destination Christmas. So I really liked part 3 of the special. Part 1 was great, part 2 was great, part 3 was great, and I am thrilled by this. It was a very edge of your seat kind of episode because Neil Patrick Harris was fantastic as the Toymaker and absolutely terrifying as the Toymaker. Even when he's dancing and singing, it was terrifying. And, you know, David Tennant plays the Doctor so well that the fact that he's terrifying and terrifies the Doctor comes through loud and clear, just as loud and clear as the fact that the Toymaker is terrifying to the audience. And it just made the episode very edge of your seat, very intense, very powerful. And, you know, that's true of the scenes that the Toymaker isn't even in, because that's how David Tennant makes the Doctor all the time. Powerful, exciting, invigorating, just moving, everything. Catherine Tate, of course, was great again as Donna, and I just loved this episode. Once again, it felt like what I call classic Doctor Who, going back to the Eccleston era. Just a straightforward story about the Doctor up against a baddie and outsmarting him. Perfect. Excellent stuff. I did find some of it confusing, though, because the 14th Doctor at the end is supposed to be like retiring, settling down, if not permanently, at least for a long while. Yet he takes over a duplicate TARDIS, and during the meal that he has at the end with Donna's family, which is now his family, I guess, he talks about how he took Rose to see New York in the past and how he took Melanie somewhere, since the events of the toymaker situation. And it's like, if you're supposed to be not doing time hopping for now, why are you time hopping? Because the point of it was, okay, well, my other self, the 15th Doctor, is going to go off and fight all the battles, and I'm just going to settle down. But if he's using the TARDIS and going places, are we supposed to believe that he never comes across any weird situations? Or that if he does come across a weird situation, he doesn't act on it? I find that hard to believe. So it was kind of silly that they gave him a TARDIS just because he says, well, I could never live without the TARDIS. Like, why did they put that in there? He just should have retired and actually retired, at least with an eye on it being temporary. At which point he could have, I don't know, used his sonic to contact the 15th Doctor and I don't know. But it just was weird that they made this point of, well, he's retiring now and settling down. But no, he's still using a TARDIS. And, well, what, he's not going to go solving problems and fighting battles? He's just going to stop doing that? He's going to see stuff and turn away from it? Or is he never going to see stuff? But if he never was going to see stuff, then why would they even talk about him settling down? Like, that didn't make sense to me. And what I'm wondering is, what does that say for the future of Doctor Who? Like, they never had any problem bringing David Tennant back before. I mean, they've done it twice already since he originally left. So why did they leave that version of the Doctor intact? I mean, it's great. I love it on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's like kind of like a cheat, just to maybe make the fans happy that that version of the Doctor still exists, which it still did in another dimension with Rose anyway. But I don't know. It just seemed weird. Like they didn't have a reason to do it. I'm a little bit bummed too that they didn't really seem to leave it open for Rose to come back, the Donna's daughter. And I kind of liked that character, so I thought it would have been cool to have her in, future episodes in with the 15th Doctor, but I don't see how they're going to do that without involving Donna, though I suppose they could. But I don't imagine, Catherine Tate's coming back full time, so it would be kind of weird. They could do it. It'd be weird. So I don't know. I was disappointed in that, but maybe we will still see her. Only time will tell, because so far the 15th Doctor doesn't have a companion, obviously. The wheelchair ramp was interesting because there's that one unit lady who uses a wheelchair. So I don't know. Maybe she'll go on an adventure with the Doctor. I don't know. During this episode, Donna accepts a job with Unit. They offer her a job because she was so good at helping them figure out what was going on with the giggle. So I don't know. Maybe she is going to be back. I doubt it, though. So I don't know. Only time will tell. And we'll have more information at Christmas, I guess, when they do the Christmas special. I'm definitely looking forward to the first season with the 15th Doctor. The actor who's playing the part, which I'm not even going to try to say his name because I'll definitely get it wrong, is great in Sex Education on Netflix. I'm looking forward to what he does in the role. But that's really it. I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back to do a recap and review of the Christmas special once it's released. Until then, I wish you peace and long life.